Hey everybody, I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. I'm having a great day because my Charlotte Tilbury Cream Bronzer has arrived. I have been impatiently waiting for this. So this is what we're getting into today. So I'm gonna give you guys, of course, some swatches of this. It's so pretty, but I'm gonna give you guys a swatch of this compared to the powder bronzer. Then we're gonna try this out to see like how it blends out, how it applies, if it's anything comparable to the powder bronzer, which I absolutely love. And then later on, I'm gonna give y'all some comparison swatches of this cream bronzer to some other cream bronzers that I have for those of you who are in my same complexion range. So let's jump right into it because I am so excited to try this out. Okay, so I already have my foundation and concealer on, and I just set the under eye because we're going to be playing around with a cream bronzer today. I have not set my face yet. So before we apply this to the face, let's first compare the cream bronzer to the powder bronzer. So I got the same shade that I have in the powder one. So this one is the shade 310 in the cream, and then here we have 310 in the powder. So I do think that the cream one is looking a little deeper in color. So, and I feel like maybe the cream one doesn't look quite as like a reddish tone, like a warmer tone compared to the powder one. So I think we can get a better sense of it when we swatch. So let me first do a swatch. Ooh, it feels really nice. It feels like kind of thick. Like I feel like maybe it might be a little off-putting when you first apply it, but it does feel kind of thick. So that is what the cream bronzer looks like, again in the shade 310. And then let me show you what it looks like up against the powder bronzer. One of the things I love about the powder bronzer, I'm gonna see if I can build that up a little bit, but one of the things I love about the powder bronzer is that it just like melts right into the skin. So I'm hoping that the cream one does the same. So they are definitely a little bit different in tone. I feel like I'm seeing a little bit more of a reddish warm tone in the powder bronzer, but let me know what you guys are thinking. So let's go ahead and apply this to the face because I'm so excited. I love the powder bronzer so much. I just could not wait to try the cream one. Okay, so I'm gonna start off on my cheek area right here, and I'm gonna be applying it with this brush. This one is the Complex Culture brush. It's called the Cheek Chiseler, and I'm pretty sure I got this from like an Ipsy bag or something. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna start off with like that amount. And I always, whenever I try a bronzer for the very first time, I always like to apply it on the cheek area first. I just feel more comfortable doing that. And I also usually put blush on before bronzer, but again, when I'm trying out a bronzer for the first time, I just want to see what the bronzer looks like on its own. So I think I'm going to do just half the face so that we can see half and half. Now right off the bat, I feel like this one is a bit more pigmented than the powder bronzer, and I feel like I'm definitely getting maybe not quite as much warmth as I was expecting. Like, I don't know, I feel like I immediately like the powder one better because the powder one to me just looks a little bit more red than this one, whereas this one, it doesn't look like a contour shade. It's just not quite as red as the powder one. I'm not liking it so far as much as I thought I was gonna like it. Like I was like just so excited about it, but now that I'm applying it, I'm like, it's not wowing me anymore as I'm blending it out. But that's just color wise. Now in terms of how it's blending out, how it's applying to the skin and all of that, it is blending out just like the powder bronzer in that I think that the powder bronzer is actually very easy to work with, to the point where it's kind of hard to over apply the powder bronzer because it just melts right into the skin. So this one is applying the same way. It's applying very easily. I'm just not crazy about the color, which is very surprising to me. So what are y'all thinking so far? It doesn't look bad. I just want a little bit more red, that's all. Let me put a little bit more on my forehead. I think I still have enough left on the brush to also go on my forehead. Well, actually, no, let me pick up a little bit more. Ever since I started wearing this hair, I've been trying to apply just a little bit more bronzer just so that you can kind of see it through the hair that's laying on my forehead. I do like it on my forehead better than on my cheek. I feel like it's just meshing with my skin tone a little bit better up here. So what do you guys think? So I have the bronzer over here versus no bronzer over here. I don't think it looks bad, and I do think it looks better now that I have it all blended out. I just want a little bit more of a reddish tone with this, but I don't think it looks bad. I just really like the powder bronzer better, the color of it. So let's go ahead and apply it to the other side. So immediately what I'm thinking as I'm applying it over here is that perhaps I just went a little too heavy-handed over here. I feel like this cheek is looking a lot better. So maybe I just went in with a little too much. And like I said, with the powder bronzer, I just feel like it's hard to do that. Like it's actually difficult to over apply that product because it blends in so well. So this one, I mean, it does take a little bit more work to just be more mindful that you're not applying, that you're not over applying. But I do think this side looks better. So I guess I just have to remember to not pick up as much. And then I'm gonna see if I can just build it up on the forehead just a little bit, only because when I go back and fix my hair, I do want to see that gradient like under my little curly bangs. Okay, so what are we thinking so far? Let me also put some on my nose. So normally when I'm doing a full face, I will go in with a slightly lighter bronzer on the nose, but just because we're playing around with this, I'm gonna stick with this same color for the nose as well. And then I like to kind of over apply the bronzer to the nose and then soften it back out with my residual foundation. I know that that sounds like extra work, but to me this is the only way I can get it to look like not too harsh on the nose. Okay, so that's what we're looking like with the bronzer all over. So let me know what you guys think. I definitely see some warmth in the face, like it has added a good amount of dimension to my face. I do wish though that it was a bit more red than it is, so I'm just not as excited about it as I initially was when I ordered it, but it definitely doesn't look bad. But so far it's not my favorite cream bronzer, which is, I'm so surprised because I just thought I was gonna love this, but I like it, but I don't love it, you know? So I think what I'm gonna do is, now that we can really see what this bronzer looks like on the face, I think on one side of the face I'm gonna set the cream bronzer with the powder bronzer so that I can show y'all what I mean by a little more red, a little more warmth. So I'm gonna take this one and I'm picking up just a little bit on the brush there, and I'm just gonna go on top of the cream bronzer with the powder bronzer. Can y'all automatically see that this one is just more warm up against my skin tone? Can y'all see what I'm talking about on camera? Like this over here, it, to me, it just immediately added more of like a reddish tone warmth. So let me know if y'all would agree with that. I think y'all can make out the difference on camera. Which side do you guys like better? Like, I definitely like this side better just because I feel like it's more of like a reddish tone, and those tones, they kind of complement my skin tone a little bit better. But I'm gonna keep it like this. I'm just gonna set that one side just so that we can see the difference when I finish my face. So let me quickly set the rest of my face. So I'm using my Kosas Cloud Set powder, and I'm just gonna set the rest of the face in place. And then over here, I'm trying to kind of go around the bronzer since I kind of already set it with the powder bronzer. And then I'm putting on just a little bit of this blush. This is Note Cosmetics in Desert Rose. And I'm trying not to overlap the bronzer, but I know that I am a little bit, but I do like for my blush to kind of be kind of lifted on my face. And as you know, it usually takes me a while to figure out like what lipstick color I'm gonna wear. So I'm gonna decide that. I'll throw on some lipstick and I'll come back and I'll show you guys the finished look, and then we'll do some comparison swatches of this cream bronzer to a couple of other ones that I own. Okay, so here's the finished look. So let me know, number one, can you even like make out the bronzer at all on my forehead? Because y'all know that I'm trying to get used to my new hair. But let me know also if you can tell a difference between this side, which has the cream bronzer set with the powder bronzer, versus just the cream bronzer over here, and then I have it set with my usual setting powder. So this is the finished look. So let me know if you guys have a preference. Do you like this, or do you think that it's just not quite as warm as the powder bronzer? Just let me know what y'all are thinking in the comments. So before we wrap up, I just wanted to show you some comparison swatches of this cream bronzer to a couple of other ones that I own, because I'm thinking it'll be helpful for those of you who are in my complexion range. So I did already put the two Charlotte Tilbury bronzers back on my hand. I just reversed them and I'll tell you why in a minute. But again, this is the powder bronzer in shade number 3, and then this is the cream bronzer in shade number 2. So first I want to swatch the this is the Anastasia cream bronzer in hazelnut. I want to swatch this one up against the Charlotte Tilbury cream bronzer, because a lot of people like the Anastasia cream bronzer, but I don't, because I just think it's too much of a contour shade. So as you can see, this one definitely is a lot more pigmented, but I just wanted to show. Let me see if I can build this one up a little bit. Like I said, I'm not getting like straight contour from the Charlotte Tilbury cream bronzer, but I just feel like it's not quite as warm as what I was expecting. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury cream bronzer, and then this is the Anastasia cream bronzer in hazelnut. So I'm assuming if we're the same complexion, you probably have the Anastasia bronzer in hazelnut, you know, if you have it at all. And then next up, I want to show you the Tower 28 cream bronzer in Best Coast. This is actually one of my favorite cream bronzers. It is definitely a very warm one. It's almost like coppery. So that's what that one looks like. So definitely a lot more warm than the Charlotte Tilbury one. And then next we have the Rare Beauty cream bronzer, and this one is in the shade Full of Life. So if I recall correctly, yeah, this one is a lot more warm too, because it definitely has more red to it. And then lastly, my favorite cream bronzer, and let me see if I can swatch this one on the side, because I do want to swatch this one next to the Charlotte Tilbury one as well. This one is the Say Beauty bronzer, cream bronzer in the shade, the Sun Melt cream bronzer in the shade Deep Bronze. So I'm going to see if I'm gonna swatch this one like right here, but I just have to look at it this way to do that. Okay, so I think you guys can make that out. But I wanted these three to be next to each other just so that y'all could see what I'm talking about. So let me give you the swatches in order again. So this one is Charlotte Tilbury in the powder bronzer in shade number 3. This one is Charlotte Tilbury cream bronzer in shade number 3. This is the Anastasia bronzer in the shade Hazelnut. This one on the side is the Say Beauty bronzer in Deep Bronze. This one down here is the Tower 28 bronzer in Best Coast. And this one is the Rare Beauty bronzer in the shade Full of Life. So I think looking at all of these bronzers, you can definitely see that this one to me is just lacking warmth compared to the rest of them. This one is definitely the least warm. Like I said, the Anastasia one to me just looks like a contour, but I wanted to show you that because a lot of people really like this Anastasia concealer, but I feel like the rest of them just look a lot more warm than the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer in shade number 3. So let me know what y'all are thinking. So unfortunately, like, I don't know if I would recommend it, and I just thought I was gonna love this Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. Like, I'm just not as excited about it as I thought I was going to be. So that's my final thought, I guess. So let me know what y'all are thinking in the comments, and I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, let me know by giving me a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel before you head out, and I will see y'all back here for my next one. Until then, take care. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.